Hello and welcome back to Conquest Creations. I'm Jacob, the Conquest Creator, and in this game we've got a really cool thematic matchup. We've got the Witch King leading his Mordor going up against Celebrimbor and his elves. The twist here is Celebrimbor is dead and he's come back as a ghost. Chris is playing these elves as proxy Army of the Dead and Celebrimbor as a proxy King of the Dead. They're all painted up as spirits. It's a great looking army.
Hey guys, I'm Chris from 4th Age 3D Printing. Today I am bringing Celebrimbor and the Fallen Elves of Eregia. They're counting as the Army of the Dead, Celebrimbor being the King of the Dead and elves being ghosts. I recently rekindled my love of the Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor games, so I wanted to do something that was inspired by that.
My army is a decently budget Witch King. He's got 10 will, 3 might, 1 fate, the crown of Morgul and an armoured horse. He's got some Black Numenorians and Morgul Knights with him, as well as an Orc with a banner. And then to round out the 300 points, I've got an Orc Captain with a couple more Orcs, some with two-handed weapon.
Seeing as there's a Witch King there, I think Celebrimbor is going to want to get stuck in there as soon as possible.
Celebrimbor has a cool ability that if he does a wound to any model, no matter how many wounds they have, they are dead. So I definitely want to keep my Orc Captain safe from him. But I reckon the Witch King's got a decent chance of being able to kill him if I charge in and strike up. Let's see how this game goes. The scenario that we're playing is capture and control. With 300 points, there's not a lot of models on the table, so we're going to need to tag those objectives and then go and attack the enemy one. In capture and control, there's 5 objectives on the board, and once you've claimed them, they're yours until the opponent gets them off of you. At the end of the game, they're worth 2 points each. There's also 1 point for wounding the enemy leader and breaking the enemy army. Chris rolled first for deployment, so he just put his whole army down relatively close to the middle. Now, you might be thinking that these look like small armies, and well, that's because it is. This is only 300 points. Typically, Middle-earth is played between 300 and 1,000 points, but more likely 750. 300 points is a great size for your first army if you're just getting started in the game. And you can see our armies are on the table. Let's get started. With that, first turn priority went to me, so I opened up this building and I sent one of my Black Numenorians in there to get that objective at the end of the turn, and same with this group of Orcs going for the tower. And then the rest of my line just needed to push forwards. I'm not casting any magic with the Witch King yet because he's only got limited resources. In Chris's move, he took one of his Knights or Riders of the Dead onto that objective, and then a Warrior of the Dead just pushed back to get that one in the back. So at the end of this turn, we'll have one each. And then his line just pushed forwards, and you can see at the end of the turn, we're just marking which objectives we've captured. And that takes us into next turn, where priority went to the Army of the Dead, and Chris just went in here, which I guess is kind of what I was expecting, but I'd left a gap so the Witch King would be able to charge, and Chris did something totally unexpected. He sent Celebrimbor, or the King of the Dead, into the Witch King for a one-on-one. On the flanks, his Riders of the Dead went to go and get my little task force of Orcs that were going for that objective. In my move, I need to help out the Witch King, so I've got this Morgul Knight to charge in. Now, his guys cause terror, so it's not that easy for me to charge. I have to pass a courage check before I can go in. But I got the Morgul Knight into a warrior and an Orc Captain into that same warrior, so I can call a heroic combat. Next, I sent this Orc after the objective, and this Orc to run down and help out his mates. This really is the main event of the turn. It's the King of the Dead versus the Witch King. Whose king is better? Hopefully, it's mine. He's only got 1 might on the King of the Dead, so he's going to call Heroic Strike, and I'm going to counter it, which means he's going all in trying to kill me this turn. But if I can survive, I think it'll put me in a good spot. And here we are at the end of the movement phase. Celebrimbor's in the Witch King. It's a big duel straight away. I'm expecting some big calls to come out there. All right, let's get in the combat phase. Chris, do you have any heroics to declare?
I do not.
You do not? All right, well, interesting. I think I'm going to call a heroic combat here with this Orc Captain and hopefully get some more attacks on to Celebrimbor. And I've also decided I'm going to add in a heroic strike with the Witch King because I want to take down Celebrimbor. Now, Chris, that does give you the chance to change. Do you also want to call a strike?
I will call a strike. All
right, that's your 1 point of might, but I think it's going to be well spent here. All right, we'll start with my heroic combat. Just going to quickly interrupt to tell you about 2 really exciting things. Firstly, Conquest Creations' next Kickstarter project is on its way. It's the Kingdom of Durak Deep, a line of 3D printable Dwarven-style terrain for your miniature wargames. This building that you see here on screen is available for free to download right now, and the project's going to be going out on the 18th of April. The link in the description will take you to the Kickstarter page that can notify you on launch. Chris, my opponent, has just recently started his 3D printing business where he prints perfect alternatives for Middle-earth miniatures. You can even buy an exact version of the army that he's using in this game. It's a great deal, and by using the code CONQUEST2023 you can get 15% off your order. The link is in the description down below. Alright, so we're starting with my heroic combat in here. It's this ghost fighting. I've set the bar on a 5. You need a 6 here. You've got a 6. Okay, I'm going to take a banner reroll. And hopefully I get a 6. I do. Okay, I'll win that fight because I am fight 4 on the Morgul Knight. I'll roll for the Morgul Knight first. He needs 5s by 3s. So there's a 6, but it needs to be followed by a 3. And there it is. So that Army of the Dead, this one in here, has been slain. So with that, I want my knight to get into the King of the Dead, or Celebrimbor, but the Orc Captain doesn't fit in at the same time. So there we go. It's just the knight fighting Celebrimbor, and the Captain has gone after the other Army of the Dead. And the next fight was that Captain going again, but the Army of the Dead won and just pushed him and his Orc mates backwards. And then one of my Black Numenorians was just pushed back, and then we pushed back the Army of the Dead. They've got super high defense, so it's really difficult to kill them, and they won the next fight. Now with my 3 Orc task force that went to get the objective, all of them got slain. These guys were knocked prone and slain. Now time for the main event, Celebrimbor versus the Witch King. We've both struck, so my strike takes me to fight 6. That's not great. And Chris, you are now fight 9. So you've got the higher fight, which means if you just get a 6, you'll win this fight. So, see your 2 dice, see what you get. It's a 5. That's all right. You've still got a banner reroll. I've got 5 dice. I've got 3 on the Witch King, 2 from the Morgul Knight. I've got the 6 there, so you need to do a banner reroll. No. Okay, so I will win that. So you'll be knocked prone thanks to the Morgul Knight, and I'll roll a bunch of attacks. All right, so I've just done 2 wounds to the King of the Dead. You've got 2 wounds and 3 fate. So, you're going to have to take a fate point to stay alive. Let's see it. First fate has passed. So, what you can do here is you can leave 2 fate in your store and take a wound, but that will give me a point. So, if you want to concede the point and play it safe with your fate, you can. Otherwise, if you want to deny me the point, now's the time to use the fate. What are you going to do, Chris?
Let's do another fate.
All right, let's see it. No, you've got 1 more fate. You can spend it now if you want to.
Why not?
All right, let's see it.
Balls to the wall.
Ooh, it's not good. Okay, so he's alive with 1 wound left, but he is still alive. Wow, what an opportunity. Almost took down the leader on the first turn, but hopefully this turn I can get back into him and finish the job. Now, my Black Numenorians is just taking courage test to charge into the Army of the Dead. There's a lot of terror in both of our armies. So there's a lot of courage tests in the movement phase here, and it's really easy to make a mistake and maybe block out one of your own models. Now, I thought I could get Celebrimbor with the Witch King, but this guy here failed a courage test to charge, and now because of Celebrimbor's the way he's backed up, and I charged him earlier, there's actually not a gap for the Witch King anymore. So he's gonna have to go and do something else. It's certainly not ideal. Bit of a tactical blunder there. This was a massive opportunity that I've just stuffed up here. The Witch King could have called a heroic strike and almost guaranteed that Celebrimbor, the King of the Dead, would have died there. Now with my move, this Orc is just trying to tie up that Rider of the Dead, and I sent a Morgul Knight over there to help get up that objective. The central objective is now taken by an Orc, and the Witch King is just sitting in the backfield, saving his will for later on in the game. And here we are at the end of the move phase. The lines have clashed. There's a lot of ghosts fighting. All right, let's get into the combat phase. I don't have any heroics to declare, and you're all out of might, so we can just get straight into the fight. On the flanking objective, I managed to win both fights, but didn't kill them. It went a lot better than last turn, that's for sure. And then in here, this Warrior of the Dead was just pushed back by the Orc Captain, and this Black Numenorian won his fight. And the last fight of the turn, Celebrimbor's just got a 6, which means you've won that fight. So Celebrimbor is going to stand up, but he can't make a strike here. Just the 2 spearmen can. And they just need a 5 to kill my Black Numenorian. No, still alive. All right, no one died that turn. It was pretty peaceful. In the middle of the table at the end of that turn, I take this objective. So there's now 3 controlled by evil and just 1 in the back controlled by good. But priority has gone to Chris. Let's see what he can do to turn that around. So coming to get that objective back. My Orc's going to fight hard. After losing both their fights last time, these Riders of the Dead are hungry to get a kill. Now, Chris chose not to send them to claim the objective yet because he wants to kill my guys first, which is fair enough. And then Celebrimbor, the King of the Dead, is getting stuck in, but in a position where there's models between him and the Witch King, so he's going to be safe and hopefully just kill a couple guys here and there and chew through my numbers. And then in my move after his, I just tried to charge, but that terror was a bit difficult. We still engaged mostly. This guy's just failed his terror check, so he's not going to be charging Celebrimbor, but this guy has passed, so he'll be able to take on that guy there. Now, the Witch King isn't able to get into combat where he is, which is a bit frustrating because he could definitely be chewing through at least one model a turn. So I'm actually going to send him away from the main fight. He's going to come around this direction. Now, that gives him option. Next turn, he can either go for that central objective if you kill my orc, or he can come and help out my knight and orc that are fighting the Riders of the Dead. And then hopefully my captain in here can support these guys enough that they'll be able to scrape it by. And this is us at the end of the move phase. Those ghosts are still going strong, and we'll see what happens in the combat phase. There's no heroics. And unsurprisingly, this time my orc was killed by the charging Rider of the Dead. Now, those orcs have courage 2, and the Harbinger of Evil from the King of the Dead gives them courage 1. So the Army of the Dead and the King wound them on 3s, which is devastating. But I've actually managed to do alright here and kill an Army of the Dead, and then win several fights. My Black Numenorian fighting Celebrimbor shielded and won the fight, pushing back all these enemies. And priority went to me next turn. My Orc Captain went into the fight and he took a spear support with him. On this side of the table, I just want to take minimal losses, so just hold the line and stay alive for as long as possible while the Witch King and the other guys can get the rest of the objectives. My movement was not very successful. I managed to get the Orcs in. They've been consistent at charging. 2 of the Black Numenorians went in, but then these 2 failed and the Knight of Morgul failed as well. So Chris has a lot of guys and then a move. This orc is willing to die to defend that objective, so he's going to charge, and he's passed his courage test, so he's going to fight that Army of the Dead. I tried to charge that Knight of the Dead with the Witch King, but I rolled a 2 and a 1. Now I'm courage 5. He's got Harbinger, but because of the Mordor Army bonus, I get +1 courage, so that cancels out, and I stay at courage 5. But I'm going to have to spend 2 points of will just to charge here. It's going to cost me another point of will at the end of the turn, because I've fought in combat. So that's a very expensive turn, losing 3 will just to fight once against a Rider of the Dead. I better kill him. This Morgul Knight's going to charge his mate. And a 6 is going to... I'm outside 12, so I will be okay. I'm courage 4, so that's going to get me in. In Chris's movement, rather than attacking my models that failed their courage tests, he decided just to stack all of his attacks on my guys who are already fighting. So those guys who failed their courage tests are just sitting there doing nothing, and he can hopefully kill some of my other guys. And this is the board after movement. The lines have well and truly clashed once again. And the Witch King's over on one side, so hopefully the King of the Dead doesn't do too much damage to me. Let's get into it. They just push back. Cocks are always dodgy, but it's like if it's not flat at all. And the last fight is the Witch King fighting a Rider of the Dead. Do you want to set the bar for me?
Nope.
It's a 4. All right. I hope I can beat that. Oh, I can. I've got a 4, but I've got the higher fight. I need a 6 to kill you. I didn't get it. Okay, I could spend a point of might here just to guarantee the kill. And if he's dead, I can definitely go and get the objective next turn. I think I have to. I'm going to spend a point of might to kill that Rider of the Dead. So the Witch King's only got 1 left. And next turn priority went to the Army of the Dead. It was super frustrating that I had to spend a bunch of resources on the Witch King there just to get recharged the next turn. I really wanted priority, or I wish I could have had one of those models free so I could have gone and get that objective. He's just tying up my models with the rest of his force in here, and he's got Celebrimbor against my captain and just the rest of the guys in combat. And this is the state of the combats. Celebrimbor has gone into the Orc captain. Now he has a special rule that if he deals a wound, I'm dead no matter how many wounds I have. So he's going for the assassination on my captain there. I've still got a point of might, but if he gets a 6 in the combat, there's nothing I can do in there, and he could just one-shot me. Our next fight is the Witch King fighting against the Rider of the Dead. He set the bar on a 5. I've got a higher fight. And, oh, there's 6s there for days. Can I get a kill this time? I don't want to spend might. It's not good. I'd have to spend 2 might, but I've only got 1. So, you've survived that. Congratulations to the Rider of the Dead. The next fight saw my Black Numenorian pushed back by a Warrior of the Dead. And then the next one,
I had a bunch of guys all pushed back by one warrior, which was a bit frustrating.
And the next fight is Celebrimbor versus the Orc Captain with a Morgul Knight. All right, I'll set the bar. I'm on a 6. It's good. You've got the 6 as well, so you have won the fight. All right. Now, you'll need to roll these dice one at a time. Do you want to strike the Orc Captain to try to kill him?
I will.
All right. I'm defense. I'm courage 3 base. You give me -1 courage, but my army bonus gives me +1 because I outnumber you. So I'm still 3, which means you need a 4 to wound me with the King of the Dead. Can you get a 4? Roll his first dice. That is a wound. Fate point. I'm alive still. All right. Roll your second attack. No. And now the other guy, you can choose to fight the Orc Captain, but you won't kill him. Or you could try to kill my Morgul Knight, which you'll kill on a 4. Or on a 5, I'm sorry.
I'll go after the knight.
All right. Let's see it. Need a 5. A 6 will kill the knight.
And in the next fight, the banner bearer was pushed back, and my orc who two-handed piercing strike managed to kill him, but the banner was passed on.
And at the end of the turn, because you pushed me back, Chris, what happens here?
I take the objective.
You do. So my red dice comes out. Your white dice goes in.
Next turn's priority went to Chris, and frustratingly, this Rider of the Dead could charge the Witch King and the Morgul Knight because it had been pushed back, so they were still that close to each other. And then in the center they charged, and then he just tied up the rest of my models. I don't think I had anything to move here, or maybe I had the banner and a spear, but not much.
And this is our board after movement. Everything's tied up. I only had 2 models back here to move, but one of them failed a courage check, and the spear stayed still. Chris, how are you feeling this point in the game?
I think it's all or nothing at this point.
It is all or nothing. You got to get some damage. It's interesting that this objective hasn't been touched yet. If your knight does some serious work and kills both of them, it's all yours. But I'm confident the Witch King's going to get him eventually. That'll go in the fight phase. Now you've got priority. Where do you want to start?
Let's do the epic struggle that's ever going in the middle.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's do this fight on camera. It's an important one. I got 1 attack versus your 1 attack. I'm on a 2. You're on a 3. You've won it. You've got to kill me. Can you do it? Oh. He fought so hard.
And in the next fight, I managed to push back the Warrior of the Dead, and the one after that, I also pushed him back.
And now it's Celebrimbor fighting my Orc Captain. My Orc friend is going to 2-hand piercing strike. It's not good. I do have a banner reroll, but it's not good. I'll do my banner reroll now. Okay, I'm on a 3. You need to beat a 3.
Let's do it.
You're on a 4, I'm on a 3, so you have won that fight, unfortunately. So, can you kill me? Now roll these one at a time from the King of the Dead.
Alright, let's give it. No,
It's not a wound.
got one more try.
It's a wound, so my Orc Captain, who has 2 wounds, already spent his fate. So that's 2 wounds done in 1 strike from the King. Now, can your Bannerman kill my 2-handed Orc?
Let's have a look.
And on a 4, you do as well. That hurt. Now, with that loss, I am actually broken. And Chris, are you 1 away from breaking?
I am 1 away from breaking.
All right, so if I can kill this knight, we're both broken. All right, let's go for it. Come on, Witch King. I'm on the 6, so I have won the fight. All right, the Witch King needs 6s. No, highest of a 4. If I'd gotten the 5, I would have spent the might on it. So he just pushes back. The Witch King's down to 4 will. And priority this turn went evil. So I'm going to call a heroic move with the Witch King's last point of might. So it puts me totally out of might, but Chris is totally out of might as well. Now I'm going to do something fun here. I really want this guy to be dead because I want to take the Witch King to that objective. But if he's not dead, then I won't be able to get this objective. So even though I've got 4 points of will, I'm going to spend 1 on a black dart. So this casts on a 5, but I can re-roll it. I've got it. Okay. This is a strength 9 hit on that Rider of the Dead. This kills him on a 4. This will be amazing if it works. Yes. Okay. So that Rider of the Dead has been black darted and he is dead. Now the Witch King is not going to call with me. Instead, he's just going to charge this guy over here with a courage test of an 8. And that's a success. So now if I kill him, I'll be able to take that objective as well. And that goes into your move before the rest of my guys move. Chris, your move, what are you going to start with?
Celebrimbor is going to have another epic showdown with the Witch King.
All right, charging the Witch King. They both fight 5. You got to pass do your stand fast check first. You've passed a stand fast. Now you need to do a terror check. That's 2 1s. Good thing you're courage 7. You're -1 because of my harbinger, but you've got 6 points of will. So if you spend 2 will, you'll be fine.
We're not going to spend any other way. So
You're not going to spend it any other way, so there it goes, and send him into the Witch King.
Bang.
All right, it's a showdown. Now, while I have you here, what else are you going to do in here?
Banner support is going to go with Celebrimbor.
Okay, so playing it safe, you don't want to lose that fight. And what about in here?
This guy here, he's going to go into some Black Numenorians.
Yep, so take a stand fast first, because he'll be more than 6 away from Celebrimbor. So he's passed that, he's fine, and now he's got to pass a terror test. He's charged in so he can take them down.
Hopefully take him down.
Hopefully take them down. And what's that last one going to do?
He's going to make a mad dash for this objective over here.
All right, see if you can take it off me.
That is the plan.
All right, now it goes to the rest of my move. This guy had to be outside 6 of the Witch King because I'm trying to get both these objectives, but that means he has to do a stand fast. He has just fled the battlefield because he's within 12 inches of the Harbinger of Evil of the King of the Dead. That's cost me 2 points. That's not good. This guy's stand fast is good, but if he wants to charge anyone important, he needs to pass a terror test. Unless, I think I've got another plan here. So after a good hard tactical think, he's decided that he's going to run in here and charge this dead elf. The other option was that he goes for this objective. He couldn't get it this turn, but he could get it next turn. But at the moment, if I can hold that objective and the Witch King can win his fight, I think I'm in for a chance to win this one. This Orc Spearman is going to take a terror test or a stand fast test, see if he flees the battlefield. He hates it. He's gone. That was Snake Eyes. Now, does my banner flee the battlefield? He does as well. Running out of models pretty quickly here.
In the combat phase, I started out by winning this fight.
All right, this fight's on camera because this could determine the game. My Black Numenorian versus your guy. I just need to win the fight to push off the objective. I'm going to be weak. I'm going to shield. I've got a 6. You've got a 4. I've won that, so you have to push back. And that objective is still mine, thankfully. And the moment we've all been waiting for, the Witch King fighting Celebrimbor and his mates. Now, the banner does have a -1, so roll him separately. Do you want to set the bar?
So these two.
It's a 5, all right. And then the banner is a 4 down to a 3. Let's roll the Witch King. Oh no, it's a 4. It's a 4, so you've won the fight.
Clutch.
I'm out of might. Okay, so Celebrimbor is going to need 5s to wound me. I'm courage 5, -1 for your Harbinger, but +1 because Oh, hang on. I've got 4 models. You've got 4 models. I no longer outnumber you.
I have 5 models.
You've got 5 models. You outnumber me, so I lose my Mordor army bonus, so I don't get +1 courage for that. Meaning I'm courage 5 base, down to 4. You wound me on 4s with Celebrimbor. Let's see it. That's a 6. I have 1 fate. I'm good. Okay. Need another 4 from Celebrimbor. It's a 3. Okay, I've only got 1 wound though. So the other 2 guys can kill me, but they need 5s. Oh, that's it.
Big fish.
2 wounds on the Witch King. He is dead. You've kept that objective. All right. Now, the game isn't over at this point. On the roll of a 1 or 2, the game is over. I think I want it to end here because I can't imagine this will get better for me. It's over. All right, let's count up the scores and see what happened.
And at the end of the game, the final score is 6-all. Chris controls 2 objectives. I control 2 objectives. I've wounded his leader, he wounded my leader, and we both broke each other for a draw.
Oh, absolute banger of a game. A few moments there I thought I'd completely miffed it. But thanks to the power of dice rolls at the right times, clinched it for a draw, which could have been better, but could have been a lot worse too.